safety and health tips for living in Mexico.
And we're going to have a sit-down chat, and it's going to be about being in Mexico, and it's going to be about taking good care of your health. So I highly suggest that you get your paper and pencil ready, and we're good to go. It's going to be classroom talk, but it's for your bienestar, the betterment of your life, your bienestar. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is taking care of our eyes. We're in a very bright area, most places in Mexico, and it's very important that you always use protection for your eyes from the sun. Number one, so that we ladies don't get our wrinkles, but also to protect the covering of your eyes. These are Fred's sunglasses. Fred has found he's much happier not having expense. It's just less stress for him to have something like this. And he really enjoys it, and they are UV protection, and they're 51 pesos. And here is the box they come in, and they're found all around Mexico, usually at a hardware store. And you don't worry about losing them. But do not be going out, even for 3 minutes to go buy some eggs down the street. Put your sunglasses on. Protect this investment. Now we're going to talk about skincare. I'm not going to give you special products. That's whatever you like. So you're going to want a night cream and an under eye cream every night. It's just as we need to hydrate inside our body, we need to hydrate outside our body. And you want to have a chemical safe sunblock or sunscreen depending on your sensibility. And I think it's probably better if you get one that's waterproof, because you're going to sweat. If you're not at the beach or the pool, you're going to sweat. So if you can get a waterproof one, that would be great too. Now Fred and I also use special fabrics on expensive sunwear. And these are the ones that we use. We have different colors, and this is Columbia, I think. And these are not hot, and they protect. Our grandson even goes swimming in them to protect him from the sun. And then I use these on my arms, and I actually got this at the Honda dealer for when I went to get my ATV lights put on, special lights put on. So you use these on your arms to protect you from the sun. There may not be a skin doctor where you're going to live, but there probably will be one, if not in your town, around your town in a different town that floats in every 2 weeks. And now we're going to talk about our throat. We've talked about our eyes. We're going to talk about our throat and our chest, our respiratory system. And now what I'm going to tell you, you may just flip it off. I flipped it off and thought, that's just superstition. I'm young, I'm strong, I don't believe in that. And for 10 years, I did not pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. And that's your call. That's your call. I'm not sure Fred paid attention to it at first. I know he didn't. But he's now beginning to understand that this is very important because he's living in a different area. He grew up where there was snow and there was ice and he could take it, but his body did not get as hot there as it does here. So what you want to do is be sure to always drink a lot of water. I easily drink 4 of these a day. I like to put a little pinch of pink Himalayan salt in it, and I like to put some apple cider vinegar in it, or just apple vinegar in it. But I do not put ice. I may put 1 cube. It is extremely important that you get enough water. I drink water all through the night too. We're sweating, whether we're aware of it or not, we are sweating. You will need to learn, if you're going to properly hydrate, you're probably going to have to learn where the public restrooms are in your area, and always have 5 pesos for that, where the clean ones are. But you can always go to Chedraui, Soriana, the bus terminal. There'll be certain restaurants in the town that count on you coming. That's part of their income. and they'll keep them clean, and that's where you can run in and go to the restroom. But you need to drink a lot of water. If you think you're a He-Man and you'll be okay, we've got a few stories we could sit down and tell you about people who have gotten extremely ill just because they did not hydrate. This is the same about anywhere you go in the world. This is not about living in Mexico. It's about taking care of your body. But do not use ice in your drinks. It's just a really bad idea. We're talking about people that are going to live here. We're talking about people that'll be here 6 months a year, 3 months a year. While you're here, your body and the organs within your body are getting warm. And then you introduce, all of a sudden, a big ice cold drink. Or you go to get to Zamora or to Chedraui and you get an horchata, a Jamaica, and they are so heavenly delicious, but they're too cold. And your body goes into a little shock. And sooner or later you will end up with a sore throat. Maybe that goes into your ears. Maybe that goes into your lungs and you have a lung infection. And it's all because you introduced very cold to very hot lungs, very cold to a very warm throat, and it's not good. Even the doctors will tell you here, if you're hot, you're outside, and you're suddenly going to go into a shopping center, a grocery store, an OXXO convenience store, the movie theater, Electra to go shopping, you wait outside that store until you cool off a little bit. If you were running, walking, on the motorcycle, or even in a hot car, wait a little bit. Especially if you're 55 or older, just wait a little bit and then you go in. Because as soon as you open the door, and the electric door is open and you go in, an amazing rush of cold air conditioning comes on you. That's an invitation. Oh, come on in. You're really going to like it here. And it's a shock to your body. And our doctors, two different doctors have told us that drops or raises blood pressure just like that, because the body's trying to adapt to this shock. So you need to be health-wise. Take care of yourself. You don't want to be, you didn't come to paradise to be sick. You came to enjoy. So learn these little things and write them down and make them your habit. Number one, you're going to enjoy your drinks by the flavor of them, your water by the flavor of them, but not the ice. Now let's talk about ear infections. So you don't want to be cleaning with the same Q-tip for both sides. You don't want to be carrying bacteria from one side to the other. We before talked about having the cones, the wax cones burnt here to get the wax out of your ears. We're finding out that leaves the ears vulnerable. You don't really want to get all that wax out of your ears. Some of that wax protects you. Pools are not all that hygienic all the time. We're talking about people from all over the world, all the people from all different types of hygiene habits and non-hygiene habits, and bacterias from feet and fungus. Be careful with your ears. Use earplugs. Can you see these, Fred?
Mm-hmm.
Do they show?
Yep.
These are Speedo Fit. And you know we can get things from Amazon and Mercado Libre. I got these at Liverpool in Oaxaca City. So you want to take, and the person who told me about these is coming next month to be in an open sea race for swimming, and he uses these. He says they don't come out. He would get sick all the time from swimming in the ocean and the pools, and he doesn't get sick anymore. So that's a good thing to have. When you get an ear infection and do not take care of it, do not pay attention to it, it starts hurting your jawbone. It'll be hard to touch this without it hurting. You may get some sensations of aching here or even dizziness. This is going into your throat and causing what we call garganta, gripa, a cold, garganta, a sore throat. That's where the infection was on me for 3 weeks. And I'm still coughing a little bit, but it's not contagious anymore. So take care of ear problems so they don't go into your throat. Now let me show you what you have to do certain times of the year. And that's when it is moist at night, there's dew in the air, and the temperature drops. And that's what it's been doing lately. And so what I have to do is, you know how you'll still see people in cities like Puebla and Oaxaca and Mexico City even wearing the white little mask that nurses wear? Or they'll always be covered up like that. They're protecting themselves from getting a lung infection. So when it's 5:30, you have to protect yourself. You have to, if you've been sick especially, you have to keep your chest warm, the back of your back warm, so you put a little t-shirt on and then you cover up. So we're like all Saudi Arabia here when it's nighttime and it's that time of year. I just came in from taking the girls to walk on the beach a little bit. I think we came home at 5:30, I'm not sure, but I didn't take a chance on the ATV. This is how I was. Just like this. And that's the way you have to be. Like this. And that's the way you have to be. It's normal here to protect yourself, especially the people. All ages do this. The kids, we have the kids wrapped up too. It's about 2 months a year. I'm not sure like what months they are, but you can feel the dampness and the moist rolling in about 5:30 in the afternoon, and it gets cool. The temperature drops. Okay, so instead of being 85, it's what, Fred, 70? 65. You can't take it. It will make you very, very, very ill because your lungs are hot. Your tongue's hot. Your teeth are hot. Your nostrils are hot. Your eyeballs are hot. And you introduce the coolness, especially us on an ATV with it blowing on us, and you do get sick really, really fast. You do want to have some like liquid eye drops. There's all different names, liquid eye drops, to clean out the dryness in your eyeballs. Our doctor even gave us special drops so that we hydrate our eyes because of the motorcycle or ATV. So she has us hydrating our eyes at night. But you do want to use fresh, clean, sterilized water on your eyes or get drops. Now, we're going to talk about walking barefoot on cold tile. Boy, it feels good, huh? You come home, your teeny shoes are hot. Oh, you just want to take them off and walk on the cold tile. You have just introduced another shock to your system. Don't do it. Always have flip-flops or house shoes. And as far as hygiene, you do want to have flip-flops that are for the shower, and you want to never shower barefooted. Always, because the mop's dirty. It's been all over the house cleaning. Don't shower barefooted. Even in your hotel room, always have in a little bag your flip-flops. You can buy cheapy ones and throw them away if you want to and not even have to travel with them. Just bring them and throw them away before you go back home. And keep them in a bag when you get here. But always shower with flip-flops and wash them. Wash your flip-flops. And while we're speaking about taking care of your chest and your lungs and not getting a cold that can later ruin your vacation, ruin your fun at the beach, but turn into something worse, when you take a hot shower and you've got your Vicks on at night, you can't go outside after that. You can't turn on the air condition either. When you're fighting a cold here or you had a hot bath, do not go outside when it's cool and the temperatures that I've been talking about. It's real critical. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you what we've learned through experience, strength, and hope living in Mexico from the women who I've worked with, from the women who make the tamales and bake the breads and cleaned my house and helped me with my son when he was a baby. All of these women. And then right now, lately, when I was sick, all the Grammys were telling me that as they were making their special teas, and they were taking aloe vera and mixing it in the blender with the honey and helping me how their grandma taught them. But the things I'm teaching you about introducing cold to a hot body, or a hot body going out into the cold, these are not things that are written in books, but you'll find the doctors will tell you that here. But you do it your way. If you don't believe in that, I think sooner or later you will see that it's the way to go. And now we'll do some logical things. It's logical, but I want to mention it, okay? Don't let people read with your glasses. If they forgot their glasses, shame on them. You don't want pink eye. You don't need it. It takes 2 and 3 months to get rid of it here because of the heat and the bacteria in the air. And don't loan anybody your sunglasses, your reading glasses, or your earbuds. Don't loan them to them, okay? What's yours is yours, and what's theirs is theirs, and never the two shall meet, okay? And now let's talk about drinking water. I call it Garrafone water. It's the big Oasis bottles. Where we live, you can get them for 15 pesos, and they are delivered, and they are carried to your apartment. Or you can get them for 22 now. I thought, okay, I've been in Mexico a long time, I can handle the 15. But watch around. I noticed that my neighbors were not buying the 15. They stuck to the 22 peso bottles. And I found there was a reason for that. It got to the point where the cheaper waters, purified waters, were tasting like metal in my mouth. And there would be a few times I would drink it at night and it would double me over. And like something stang my insides as I drank it. So I went on to the 22 peso Garrafones. So water isn't water. Get the one that your body wants. Your body may want the 15 peso water. It may be closer to what you drank back home. That's, I think, what the difference is. I've asked about it and they say it has to do with the well that it came from. I think it probably also has to do with their processing system, because more than one's processing system, I know that. So test the waters. Okay, now we want to talk about getting enough sleep. This is no joke. You know how your day is if you don't get enough sleep. And it's going to take some adjusting here. Some people are in an economical position where they can be in very luxurious condos with guards keeping everything quiet, or they can have their own mansion over a cliff looking at the ocean. And I am very happy for them. I really am. And then some of us have to live in economical conditions, or we just choose to save money. And that's why we want to live in economical conditions as far as rent in neighborhoods, because we would like to do something else with our money. Maybe travel, maybe invite people, or have a savings account. You know why and if you need to live in economical areas and rooms and studio apartments. There are 3 different types of living condition areas for when you're saving money on rent. One would be to live in a rural area, something like Santa Maria Huatulco, and you would live almost in a pioneer situation. You would be fighting elements. You would be having to live in screened porches because of all the critters and the insects. You would be listening to roosters. And you would definitely have to have a command of Spanish to be in those rural areas. Another area where you could live in rooms and studio apartments and very convenient area would be to be in a downtown area. But that's also going to require several months of getting used to not having the sleeping conditions that you're probably accustomed to. You're going to be hearing honking taxis. You're going to be hearing laughter in the street, music, extremely loud music from big speakers from all the boutiques trying to get people's attention. You're going to hear bar music probably on the weekends. You're going to hear a lot of laughter and horns, lots of horns. You know, have you ever tried to sleep in Manhattan in a hotel room? It's all ambulances, right? And fire trucks and policemen. So that would be another place that you would get economical rental, but you'd have to get used to the sleeping conditions. And then you might want to be in the third category of rooms and studios and homes that have extra rooms that they're renting out for extra income. And that would be like a neighborhood where we live. And it's all not roses and daisies here. We love our apartment. We love this neighborhood and the parks. And I mean, they sweep the streets every day. It's lovely. But we do have extreme noise issues at night. And so now Fred has found, like, from 10 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning, if it's on the weekends, he'll turn the air conditioner on to counter that noise. But we try to sleep with the terrace window open, but not lately when it's the dew and the cold, because we both start coughing. But what we have to serenade us is amazing. We've got dog chorus and choirs going on. We have vending vehicles, beep, 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 all day long, selling the tortillas. About 10 o'clock at night, a truck comes with children's songs, very loud, selling fresh sweet breads. We have a moo cow going through, selling propane. We've got a lot of sounds going on. And then, of course, there's the neighbors. They work, it's a tourist area, and they work in hotels and resorts, and they come and go at different hours for their schedule, work schedule. So motorcycles start and go and stop and go all 24 hours. We have some neighbors who enjoy their TV loud, really loud, and it relaxes them after work, but it's loud. A few babies got born here, so we've had a little crying going on. Of course, our little heart doesn't get upset about that at all, but we're just trying to tell you, I think the one that really annoys us is they never stop the dogs from barking. And our neighborhood's called the dog sector. But you know what? Because of all those dogs, we're a lot safer. But you need to realize that you are going to have some sleeping issues. And if you're not thinking that you can adapt to that, you need to reconsider where you're going to live. So now I'm going to do a little reading, which isn't extremely professional, but I do want to make sure that I get all the details for you. If you haven't decided where you want to try Mexico out yet, it's a big country. Let me help you work out a system of process of elimination. What does this have to do with health? This has a lot to do with health. You're coming to Mexico to live in a paradise, to be able to afford to eat well, to have fun, to have less stress about taxes and insurance and all the malarkey that's been going on lately, and plus trying to live without having to have extra jobs to supplement your Social Security. All this is about keeping yourself healthy while you're in Mexico as an expat. So what you're going to do is get the map of Mexico, and we're going to look at the different options that you will need. And that way you'll begin, I'll show you how, and you begin to mark out the areas, the big cities, the mountains, the valleys, the coast, the rural. You're going to find out, marking out by process of elimination, where you should not go try out Mexico. Just because you go to one place doesn't mean you're stuck there forever. Go try it out. Don't have a big old truck, bring everything you own all at once. Go try it out first, okay? So, first, number one, we're going to work about the history, the medical history of your family, their weaknesses, Every family has their weaknesses for their medical history. It could be sugar diabetes, it could be gout, it could be heart conditions, it could be thyroid. You need to find out what your family's medical history weakness is, and write that down. And you also need to write down what your own medical history has shown as one of your weaknesses. Now, why are you going to do this? Okay, you're going to be looking for the areas on the map that have specialists in these fields, that have places where they would have treatments for that they have places where you would go have special examinations or scans or lab tests for these types of health issues. This is the first thing you want to do. Now, we do have floaters. For example, we are in Huatulco, and to get a stress test here for Fred, we can't do that here. But we can go to a town, Pachutla, and twice a month, there's a doctor that floats and gives stress tests. And that's okay at this age. We can go do that. We get on a bus very cheaply, and it's not hard to get there and back. But what you want to do is make sure that you list the medical services you will need because of your family history and your own medical history. Now you want to write down on part of your list an international airport if that's what you're going to need. We have an international airport 18 minutes at the most from here. So are you going to be flying out often? Are you going to have visitors come in often? Are you going to have to go back to the States for different checkups or legal matters or visiting grandkids? Are grandkids coming to see you? If you're going to need to be able to get to and from an airport easily, make sure where you decide to live has that available. And for example, Oaxaca. Okay, they've got an airport. Have you checked the prices and how hard it is to get to that airport? You need to make sure also where you're going to live near an airport. It's an accessible airport as far as airline hubs and getting there and prices to get there. Now we're going to talk about getting around in the city where you've decided to go or where you're checking out to go, okay? So if you like fresh produce from the market, and we do, we don't have a market, but we go on the streets and the sidewalks. If you like going to fish markets and go get your chicken cut, not get it at a grocery store, then you're going to have to be able to go downtown into markets. If you are going to be going to make payments for your cell phone, your internet, your water, your propane, your electricity, if you're going to be sending money to someone or receiving money, if you need to go to the ATM on a regular basis or get to a bank, this all includes being able to get to the right places. And that means you would want a place with public transportation. Okay, so Fred and I are enjoying the ATV. Now, are we going to be on the ATV in 10 years? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't think it sounds real safe. So, I just don't think that Fred needs to be 85 years old, be bopping down the road in an ATV. But here we've got great public transportation and ability to walk safely. Here is what I want to tell you about this. If you're going to be out and about, and enjoying going downtown and getting out and having life, okay? Number one, do not do it between 11:30 in the morning and 4:35 in the afternoon. You stay in if it's hot. If it's hot where you live, you stay in. You do not go out and run your errands and walk around at those hours. It will affect your blood pressure even if you don't have blood pressure problems. That's me. Boy, it got me. I went down to 105 and I always have 120 and I'm going, what on earth? And the doctor said, you stop walking around doing all those errands in the middle of the day. It's highly dangerous for locals. So that's number one thing about walking around and doing it. But the other thing is this. You need to make sure that where you live has clean streets. And you're gonna, if they don't have clean streets, you put an X on those. You don't even think about it. That is X'd out on your research list. So if it's a city with dusty streets because it's a dry area, with dusty, filthy streets because they have refineries and chemical refineries and petroleum refineries and industry. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. You're asking for respiratory problems. You're asking for asthma. You're asking for a lot of medicine, a lot of doctors. I don't want to frighten anybody. I want you to realize you'll see a lot of people with their face from Mexico covering their faces. But all that dust, every time a truck goes by, every time a bus goes by, it's swirling all that filthy dust on your skin, in your nostrils, in your eyes. Find a place to live with clean streets. They actually sweep our streets all the time here. That dust, we're going to talk about the contamination of it and why. But that dust, we literally have a friend that got a rash on the face. It got infected from the dust. That person thought they only had an allergy from a shaving cream or something. And that infection got into his blood system, and he was one sick puppy dog. And that was because, and he told us, oh my goodness, from the hospital, they took him to the United States as a backup after he'd been taken care of here. And it was confirmed that's what it was. And he said it was the dust. Every time a bus went by and I went to the market, I could just see the dust all over the place. And he got skin infection. So if you're going to be going around the streets and everything, there are not that many cities with dust, but stay away from the ones that do have it, okay? Now let's say you found your little paradise, okay? And it could be a sleepy fishing town that's only 30 minutes away from a big city with lots of shopping. Or it could be like we have here, 36 beaches, 9 coves. But for Fred, it gets a little too hot in the summer. And so and it gets rainy. So one can live in their apartment. Truthfully, the electricity isn't that high. And live in your apartment in the air condition and wait till the heat is over in 2-3 months. Or you know what else? That's the time that you can go traveling. The buses here are extremely cheap. Look for college towns. College towns that are cooler and have a lot of vegetation. They'll have cultural events. You'll enjoy the coffee houses. And truthfully, if all the kids are out of town at that time because it's school vacation time, you'll be able to rent a little room just for a month or 2, really inexpensively, and have a little adventure. So don't be afraid if the place you found is going to be just too hot in the summer or May months. That's when it's time to hit the road on your ADO bus station. Now, when you're looking for a place to live, you might be attracted by a place like Jalapa, which is a beautiful place. It's cultural. It's a college town with a lot of European teachers and coffee houses and hippie-arty things on the street for sale. But there's also another thing that you need to consider. Do you really need to be in a place that has weather like Seattle, weather like London, fog, moistness? Actually, in some of these places, the walls drip from the moisture in the air. So, and there's fog in the morning, there's fog at night, and this makes joints hurt too. So these are places to go visit, to enjoy those beautiful flowers. But you want to think twice about living there. Ask your doctor. Usually a doctor, when we get a little bit older in life, wants us to go to dry places for our joints and to feel good and to fight inflammation, not moist, cold places. So you might want to consider that too about marking off some of the cities on the map. And now we want to talk about help. Well, we're going to need help. The older we get, we're going to need help. We may be very independent people, but there's going to come a time when we're going to need help, because we can enjoy getting other things done besides our housework. So we might want to have somebody to come in and help us clean. My late husband had the same cook 21 years. I'm used to being able to have housework done and have, I call them my secretaries, have their own bedroom and live there and help, so that the women in the household can go to work and not have to be slaves to the housework. But as we get older, and even if we live in a condo or a studio or a room, there'll be a time when we get to an age that we need somebody to do that sweeping and that mopping and that heavy spring cleaning. And even my own daughter-in-law, at times when she was pregnant, a lady came in and would cook meals in advance for 3 days, and everything sterilized, delicious, and put away in Tupperwares in the fridge, and it helped her out a lot. So if you are thinking that you could use a housekeeper, someone to help with meals, you need to consider this, okay? If you are looking at an area that has hotels, tourism, and resorts, you're not going to get housekeeping. You're not going to get it. Once in a while you might, when tourist season's low, but once that the tourists are back, it's bye-bye. They go make a lot of money at those hotels, and the hotels provide them transportation on buses to and from. They've got a crisp uniform. They probably provide them with refreshing drinks, Cokes and water while they're at work. You're not going to get help. So you might want to consider living in a place that's not tourism if you are inclined to wanting to have a housekeeper. And as we're doing our process of elimination of the towns that are left on your map, now it's time to join Facebook groups. You will find Facebook groups for rural areas, for moving to Mexico alone, for living off the grid, for tropical places, for living in the mountains, for big city living, even for the different names of big cities. You're going to find Facebook groups that you can join and read and ask questions. They're nice people. They're very helpful. Some have little search engines within the Facebook group to look for topics. Find out if the type of doctor you need is there. Find out if they have emergency transportation. Find out if there's health food stores. Find out the things that you want to know and that you've listed as what you like and are interested in. Another thing that I would like to tell you is that because of internet, isn't it wonderful? Because of internet, we can stay in touch with friends and family and relatives and people that are in our church beliefs. If we're in recovery from 12-step recovery, and there are literally hundreds of different types of 12-step recovery and recuperation, then you could stay in touch with those people from internet. You want to make sure that you're going to find good internet. You're going to ask in these forums too, these Facebook groups, how good the internet really is and which sectors, they call them, or colonies, have very bad internet. And they'll tell you. Fred and I have 3 types of internet. We have Telmex, we have Mega Cable, and we have an extremely expensive phone plan from the United States of unlimited internet, because there's times I'm actually publishing the YouTubes on my phone. The internet comes and goes and comes and goes. So you check out about your internet so that you can watch your churches, so you can be a part of online recovery. Ask if they have meetings. Ask if there's churches we have a patio church here. There's a lovely couple that has patio church during high season. And we enjoy that because we're Christians, and there are a few of us in the area that like to practice Christianity together. And now I want to talk about what floor you think you should live on. We're on the 2nd floor, And we like the stairs. I've always felt safer. We have our terrace because we're upstairs, and then one more flight up and we're on the roof for outdoor living and washing clothes. But how long are you going to be able to not be on a bottom floor? Or do you need to be on a bottom floor right now? That you would have to map out also. And you can find first floor rooms and studios and apartments, but that's going to take longer. That's going to take longer. If you live, but be patient and steadfast and ask God to help you, He'll find that apartment for you. But living on the first floor, you need to take some precautions and some measures and have some money saved up for that. You're going to have, we call it a portone, and it's a metal gate on your front door and your back door. You're going to have that. And that just tells people to stay away because you've already got everything protected. Your windows have to have protections. I'm not really excited about the normal Mexican protection on the windows. In my homes, I have always had special window protections. What does that mean? And the iron workers thought I was nuts. My son didn't. He understood it immediately. We had hinges on all of our window protectors so that we could open them up and get out the window if we needed to. We had padlocks, but we did not keep the key where someone could break the window and put their hand in and grab the key to the padlock. No, we didn't do that. But we did have it on the pathway to the door, and it was everyone in the home that lived in the home knew how to get to that key and get out that window if they needed to. So if you're going to live downstairs, be sure that you have window and door protections. So our last tip for today is to sterilize your towels and your pillows on a weekly basis. What? It's easy peasy. The sun is an amazing sterilizing equipment, okay? It doesn't cost a penny. So be sure and put your pillows out in the sun, your towels out in the sun every week. Keep yourself healthy and away from bacteria from that too. Because the dust in your hair, on your face, in the air with the terrace open, we're fighting bacteria here, okay? Now, did I say that we're fighting bacteria because Mexico's a nasty old place to be? No, I did not. The people who created the cities in the United States, they went through the same things. It's all a process that your grandparents went through too. And that's what's happening in Mexico. It's a process. Unless you want to go to Guadalajara, if you want to go to Mexico City, to Monterrey. If you want to live in a big city, great. But those towns have got all of their sidewalks paved, their streets paved, their water system figured out, their transportation figured out. If that's the life you want, great. But if you want to go to smaller towns and coastal towns, or maybe rural areas, or rainforest, this is what you're going to have to learn about all these things that I'm telling you. Okay?
That's it. Be sure to subscribe to learn about life in Huatulco and to learn about retiring in Mexico also, because we do share 25 years experience with you. Do you need a virtual mailbox so you can take care of business and personal communication on a daily basis? Are you interested in expat or nomad insurance that's highly affordable? May we book your Huatulco hotel room for you? Luxury pet features, powerful internet, healthy food, and a children's playground? Click our links below. We'll be back soon. You can watch 300 plus videos about life in Mexico at lifeinhuatulco.com. See you there. Life where?
In Mexico!